Hello, everyone. It is 5 o'clock, but we are expecting quite a few more people, so we'll wait just 2 more minutes to give them a little bit of time to get in and get situated before we begin. But we will stick with our ending time of 6. I'm sorry, it was 4 on Central Time. So we'll be beginning at 4, a little after 4 here, and then we'll end right at 6 o'clock. So please hang with us for a few more minutes as we get a couple more people to join us. All right, it looks like we are a few minutes after, and we maybe have gathered everyone we're going to have this afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us in this session dealing with rich mathematical tasks. We're going to look at what are they and why we should care about them. I'd like to introduce you to our presenters today. My name is Ryan Timmons, and I work for the Dana Center, and our co-presenter here is going to be Mary Davis. Hello, Mary. Good to see you. Smiles all around. All right. Well, first thing I'd like to do is kind of walk us through what the Charles A. Dana Center does and why that matters for today's work. First of all, the center does a collaboration with local and national organizations to strengthen mathematical and science education, focusing on equity and access for all students and promoting college and career readiness. So if you're not familiar with the Dana Center, that just gives you a very brief overview of kind of what we do. Now, the way that we do that is pursuit of high academic standards, building capacity within systems and within teachers and leaders in those systems. We also like to participate in research and practice, and then, of course, innovation, which is what we'll be doing today, innovating and using a new technology for some virtual professional development. I'm going to walk you through a couple of key features, kind of a quick guide for the software we're using to video conference today. It's called Zoom. And if you'll notice down there at the bottom of your screen, that's where you're going to have a lot of the menu options for this work. The first one I'd like to call out is going to be your mute button. Many of you have found this already, but we're going to be going in and out of mute, in and out of rooms. And it's kind of one of the most important features. We ask that you do stay muted throughout the session unless you've been called upon or have been noted that we're waiting for your answer. It helps to deal with any audio feedback and people talking over the top of each other. Another feature that we have here right next to our mute is going to be our video. And this is one in which we'd like for you to leave on. So a little bit different than the mute, which is off, but we'd like to leave your video on so we can see you, participate fully, and really experience who it is that is in our session today. And especially when we go to small groups, it's a lot more useful to see the person you're talking to. We do have a chat feature that functions kind of a lot like the social media, and you'll send out little messages to people. We ask that you refrain from using this to answer questions and small chit chat. We're going to be using this more for just questions that may be dealing with the content that are being learned right now. Our presenters will be the ones speaking, but when I'm speaking, Mary will be manning those chat features, and we'll swap roles in the middle here. And so when you ask anything of the group, you can address it to everyone, or you can, obviously go right to everyone there. All right, so most of the day you'll be seeing our presentation along with couple of other elements here. Many of you may be seeing this video screen with all of our pictures on it. You can scroll up and down to see some of the other participants. If you are dealing with a singular monitor and need some real estate, you can minimize that view briefly to click on links or do anything other bits of work that you may need to do or that we ask for you today. Another thing is up at the top, you'll see a green and red button, and it will help you to get out of full screen sharing. And that way, when we go to other programs and some online tools, that you'll be able to get back into this kind of format. So that's another area where you're going to be able to navigate some of your screen. One really fun thing that we're going to do today is going to be breakout rooms. This is a way for us to send you into small groups and for you to have some meaningful conversations in a way with your live and interacting audio on your audio and your video. But what we'll have to do is send you out into those. You'll see a little notification there, and we can pop in and out of those groups as facilitators, but you can stay in your group. And then they're timed. So when the time is up, you might see a little notification that says 1 minute left. Then you can leave the room or it will close for you automatically. When you go into your breakout rooms, it'll look a lot like the regular room, have some of the very similar navigations, but I'd like to call out a few extra ones here. First one is to ask for help. So if something is unclear of the directions or you're having some issues, certainly use that button and I will come in and try to address any of that for you. And we also have the leave room. So if you happen to be done before we ask you to come back and the room closes, you can use that leave breakout room to come back to our main session. Now in your breakout rooms, a lot of the chats or files that were given to you in the main room will not carry over. So make sure that you are aware of that and you open any links before you leave the main room, because in your chat in your breakout room will really just be those things that were done within the breakout room. It really is a side room to the main room, and so a lot of the things stay within that space. All right, so one of our first things we're going to do today is we're going to send you into your breakout rooms. Again, this was what you'll see. And what we'd like for you to do in that breakout room is you're going to be introducing yourselves. You're going to be talking about maybe where you work and your primary roles there and really why you're attending today's session. And then another thing that you're going to see on this is going to be a space to write out some of your work roles. So we have some roles that we'd like for everybody to take within those groups, and they will offer some clear directions as to who will be sharing, who will be recording throughout our session today. Now, Mary has shared with us a couple of links in the chat feature. You might see a little button flashing or glowing at you on your screen. This is a web software called Padlet. And when you go into there, it should have some links and some directions as to those roles. But we'd also like for you to then add your own hosts within those roles, within that Padlet. To do that, you can double click anywhere on the open space and it will create a white box that allows you to type into it and fill out the roles there. Or at the bottom right, you'll see a little plus sign, and that will again open another little pad and you can write on it to share with the details from your groups. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you out into your groups in just a few minutes here. You'll introduce yourselves, talk about those things we've asked you to share, and then by the end of the 5 minutes, you should have shared exactly who is going to do what role on our Padlet. This is a little bit of a practice there. Also, I will be jumping into the groups to kind of share with you what group number you are as we work through some of the other software today. Each one's keyed up by a particular group number so that we can keep track of who is in what and doing what bit of work. So, are there any questions from anyone here so far? If so, please let us know. Otherwise, I will be sending you into your breakout rooms here. And we will see you in 5 minutes. Thank you very much. All right, everybody's in their rooms now.
Ryan, I can't see your screen.
You can't see which screen?
I can't see, you aren't sharing anything with me. I couldn't see anything. I saw your face the whole time.
Oh, that's why I was asking you if you could see that. I don't know why that's the case. You didn't see any of the PowerPoint?
I didn't.
The whole time?
The whole time. But usually I have a different screen that has it on, and that didn't come up.
Oh, that's why I asked you early on. It was, I don't know why it's not sharing it.
I didn't even, I'm sorry. When you said everything looked okay, I just assumed you meant did everything, like I had everything ready. Sorry.
Can you see something now?
Not yet.
What?
I don't know. It may be me. They seem to, I mean, maybe I've turned off something. I looked all around trying to find it. Let me share and then you can take it back. Let's see if that works.
Okay.
Okay, can you see mine?
Yeah, I can see yours.
Okay, I'm going to stop share. Okay, give it a shot.
Yes? No?
Nothing yet.
Okay, I'll try a different screen. This is a desktop. No?
Nothing yet.
All right, I'm gonna jump into breakout rooms and see.
Okay, jump into breakout rooms. If we have to, I can share mine and just do the clicks because I know the.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
But anyway, you may want to go ask them if they saw the PowerPoint at all and apologize if they didn't and we were fixing it now. Or
It's not just like you said, procedural, because they understand it better. When we do that. So that's another reason.
Well, and I teach online too, which is kind of exciting to meet someone else that teaches online. It's been kind of a different experience going from a regular classroom to an online classroom. Yeah, very different.
Hello, everybody. I'm sorry to interrupt your conversation here. I wanted to first give you that you guys are group number 1, so big expectations for y'all for that one. But the second piece was I wanted to see, are you okay with the Padlet? Have y'all found that and been able to work in there so far?
I looked at it, but I didn't touch it.
Okay, that's fine. Just wanted to make sure. And another piece is, are y'all seeing a presentation when you are in the main room?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Our other co-presenter was not seeing it, so I wanted to make sure y'all were. Okay, well, good. That was why I wasn't getting a total strange looks on everybody's faces as far as what is he referencing? We don't see anything. All right. Well, thank you. You've got 2 more minutes, so we'll see you back in 2 more minutes.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
yes, you're muted, or I am.
I'm muted. It's automatically mute when we get back in. They
Oh.
can see it, so
They saw it? Okay, good.
they saw it.
Then I don't know what's happening with my computer.
I don't
I
know.
knew that, I mean, because it always comes up. I have looked up here in window and meeting.
I don't know. Let's up in the other group.
Well, why don't I log off and log back on since we
Okay.
have a little time?
Okay, I'm gonna join the other group.
Okay, well,
Hello?
Yes.
How
Hello.
are we doing?
We were trying to figure out what was next.
Sure.
After we introduced ourselves, and now what?
Sure.
I
Did
couldn't
you
remember.
the link to the Padlet to write down the duties that y'all would be working on?
I think someone was working on that, but she just stepped away. Diane. Where's yeah.
So what are the roles that we're supposed to be deciding on?
Did you look at the Padlet?
I didn't see anything on there, and now I don't see it at all. So on the Padlet, it has task manager, timekeeper, recorder, and reporter as the option of
Oh.
4 roles. But we just weren't sure exactly what kind of work we were going to be asked, if those 4 are just sufficient for us, or if we needed to come up with
No,
a
those,
different.
those would be sufficient. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I see another group is put in there. It's in the example one, but yeah, just make a list of them off to the side there. That'll help us when we go to call on somebody. We'll know what name to call on, and it just really helps everything going smoothly, because we'll have some tasks where somebody's actually doing some of the work for the group, and somebody will then, expect them to report out and things. So
Okay, so
just make sure they're covered.
So if we just put breakout room 2 and then list our.
Yes, and y'all are group 2. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, and we use Zoom a lot
do?
in our district. So
So it's
I
not
don't
new.
understand why it's doing this. And I'm even plugged in to a hard connection. I'm not on Wi-Fi.
Mm. Hey, Ryan, I see your screen now. That's my technology. Was I told him as soon as it finished, I was like, I don't see your screen, Ryan. This could be a long day. You're muted, Ryan.
I'll have to get used to the coming back in and being muted immediately. All right, so I'm gonna.
Everything going okay in there?
They all saw it. Everything is fine.
Okay.
Melanie, is that right?
Yes.
I'm gonna put you in group 1.
Well, I was in group 2, I think, and we did the introductions.
Yeah.
And then it kicked me out because I was asking, what else are we supposed to do after we've done the introductions?
Did you?
And we have completed that.
I think the Padlet. What was the directions there? And maybe because you got kicked out at that spot.
Okay.
That one, yeah. But
Okay.
I'm gonna call everybody back, and that's okay. I think your group will kind of let you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ryan, did you say there was a Padlet issue?
No Padlet issue. Everybody got the Padlet. Everybody was in there. I think.
Okay.
They.
I just wanted to make sure.
It's just getting used to. That's the way the work is going to go.
I'm with you.
Group 2 is coming back.
Yep.
All right, everyone. I see that we are back from our groups, and everybody has been introduced, and we've got our roles for today, so that will be great. One thing I'd like to cover with us next is going to be some of the online session etiquette that will help us really make this flow smoothly here. First of all, we've done a great job of this so far. Keeping our audio muted when we're not talking will help everybody be able to hear. Using the chat feature really just for those questions, not directly related to a current conversation. We'd like to hear from you when you're presenting out information, and the chat will just be a way to notify us outside of that. Speak clearly into the camera. That's a little bit different maybe for some people as far as that camera being at the top of your screen, but it's best if you try to look up there when you're talking. And then of course minimize that background noise and distractions, and then we're all on camera, so hopefully no children will run into the room or anything along those lines, but if it does, it's okay. We can either turn off video to address that, or we can just all laugh about the realities of life here. So our goals and expectations for today are, again, we're going to identify those qualities of rich and rigorous tasks to look at how they deepen student understanding of mathematical content and look at some of the practices in classroom. And we're going to do some interactions online to help us reflect on the need for these rich tasks, to identify and document the characteristics. And then the last thing we're going to do is actually look at a tool and use those tools for extending current materials to meet more of the characteristics of rich tasks. Some group norms for us, how to interact with one another is to understand that those who work, they're going to be the ones who do the most of the learning. That's why we've asked you to have your video on and asked you to participate in small groups. It allows for the most work and thus the most learning here. Recognize that we all are from different backgrounds and all have expertise. If you find anything that is unclear, please challenge ideas and ask lots of questions. Share that talk time, and of course, there'll be moments where one of us or some of us may make some mistakes, and that's okay. We're just going to look at how that happened and then move on from there. So if there aren't any questions, I'd like to move into kind of a first thing about rich tasks. These are some statements that are often said about rich tasks. They're described as these magical things that only best and the brightest students can do, or really have to be saved for the end of the year when the kids have all their skills and all their knowledge, and then they're actually able to just tackle these really difficult tasks. But what we're going to do today is look at some of the qualities of rich tasks and how to evaluate that, and to see that they don't have to be these silver bullets or the things that only bright kids can do, that they are the moments where we can enrich in tasks throughout the year to help students connect to the material. It's a way to really deepen that work that they do by just simply changing a little bit about the tasks that you probably already do in your classrooms. So this is going to be another section where we're going to send you out to breakout rooms. But first, I'd like you to think about a lesson or a task that you did in your classroom that went well. And really think then about what were the students doing, and then what were you as a teacher doing. And those two things you're going to be recording on a Padlet for each one of your groups. We have 2 groups here today. So group 1 will have a Padlet number 1, and group 2 will have Padlet number 2. And on that Padlet, I'd like for you to think about and then discuss what actions were being taken during your lessons, and create the lists there about the students' actions and the teacher actions. And I'm going to give you 7 minutes to do that. And I'm going to send you out to your breakout rooms. And in those Mary's going to be putting in our chat here some links for our Padlets. And again, group 1 is going to have Padlet 1, and group 2 is going to have Padlet number 2. And when you're in your breakout rooms, think about that moment. Take about 2 or 3 minutes to really think about the time you were in your classroom, what the students were doing, what the teacher was doing, and then try to record all of those moments and those actions within your Padlets. So are there any questions as to what may be the directions and what we're going to be doing here? All right, I will think that there are no questions. Mary has posted in our chat there, and please make sure you select the chat, the link of Padlet for your group before you leave for your breakout room. So we're going to send you out to your breakout rooms, and you're going to have 7 minutes to complete this work. If you have any questions or it's unclear what to do, go ahead and press that Ask for Help button while you're in your breakout room, and I will come in and hopefully clear things up. So see you in 7 minutes.
Oh, that stupid cut and paste didn't work again.
Yeah, if that happens, like instead of being at the bottom, if you select somewhere else if you just hit enter, then it seems to want to go. But yeah.
Okay.
Cut and paste from
I finally had to highlight the whole thing, stop sharing so I can start sharing.
Okay.
I finally highlighted the whole thing. It was weird, but it worked. Okay, so I need to go to the full screen.
Okay.
Browse, window, browse. Why is it not? Okay, I don't care about that. It's not, oh, there it is. Okay, so now I can share.
When they get back, it looks like we'll be okay because that'll be about 5:30. So I think that's what we're supposed to be.
Okay, is that a good size? Can you just see?
Yeah.
Oh, I shared screen. Hold on, I just want to share PowerPoint. Just in case something comes flying across my screen. It happens.
That it does.
Microsoft PowerPoint. Okay.
All right. It wasn't unclear with Padlet. They seemed to, once they got to Padlet, they were okay. Now, the example that you put on Padlet,
Yeah,
the groups wrote over it.
I know. Group 1 wrote right over it. But I just renamed it to Breakout Room 1 so I could remember which was which.
And Breakout Group 2 knew they were in Group 2. So somebody must have finally found out that you can see at the top of it that's their group number.
Okay. So Group 2 is actually typing in now already.
Great.
Group 1 has not started typing anything yet. Doesn't mean they're not talking. I just.
Yeah. They need a Spencer.
Yeah, I'm going to close out 3, 4, and 5. I don't need those. That'll save me some desktop space.
We were supposed to have 40 for this session.
I know, that's kind of crazy.
7.
Caitlin is from Amarillo, Texas.
Oh, all right. All right.
I used to work with her with Think Through Math. I'm not sure she remembers me though. Because I sent her a text and I said, a personal chat. And I said, hey, how's it going? And I said, I tried to say hi before, but how's things going in Amarillo? And she was like, okay. I was just like, you don't even know who I am.
Awkward.
Hurts.
So I think it went better. I think it's clear as to what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, and the 2 people that weren't on came on after just a little bit of asking. So.
And the one, she fixed her name. I'm gonna fix it. It was like Susan.
Oh, the one that said Senor or something, or SR?
Susan.
I couldn't tell if it was Senor, Senorita, sister, like she was a nun.
I can't change it while she's in the group, but I'll change it when they come back. I'll change it back to Susan. One thing we don't call out or really call to our attention is like that how the chat, beyond them using it, like us using it to talk to them, because it doesn't seem like when I eat. Oh, she wrote Susan. Okay, so I'll change her name to Susan. I thought it flashes at them.
No, when I saw SR, I just assumed it was a nun.
Senor? I assumed it was Senor.
Sister Susan. Number 1's working now.
There we go. 3 minutes left.
So you have this with Shelley on Monday?
I do.
Are you prepared? Is she prepared?
Yes, we are. Though the bigger concern is going to be numbers.
Why? There's not enough?
Well, we had 20 and 40, or 29 and 40, and last count was like 7 and 10.
Well, I'll come in and join.
Yeah, it'll be. Yeah, we may be calling people if we don't. I'll talk to Sarah about.
Are you doing a run-through?
We've done run-throughs before, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we've done a couple of run-throughs now. I'll be speaking with her tomorrow at 9 y'all's time to continue that work. We're thinking that it might be the level at which it's offered, like, understanding the NGSS is kind of maybe missing what people are wanting with that particular work. So,
yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe more people have signed up. I don't know. You share a program and not a screen. It's pretty funny because I can see that you are like resizing things, but
all my thing is just flying around without,
without any reference. Okay, so they have a minute left. I'm gonna close all the rooms and they'll be coming back shortly.
Good.
I will mute.
Whoops. Went too far. And here comes the last one. We're all in our places with sunshiny faces. No need to adjust your microphone. This is Mary now. I'll be talking for a little while from this point. So let's do a little bit of talking over what you guys put into your Padlets. I noticed a lot of the same types of information, like figuring out what information is needed, talking to each other, making sure that the kids are sitting in small groups and doing a task, sometimes even online. I love that. So could you share just a little bit about what you talked about in your group? Melanie, could you share? Just unmute yourself and share a little bit about what you guys talked about.
One of the things we talked about is the importance of students engaging in the academic conversation about the math task. And if the students are talking about the math and talking about the task, then the teacher is there to just ask questions that move that conversation and that discussion forward, rather than giving them the right, wrong piece of it. Ask the question that helps the students decide if where they're going is correct.
Sure, and that's probably one of the hardest things for teachers to do. It's to there's an article that from NCTM years and years and years ago, but you might still be able to find it, called "Never Say Anything a Kid Can Say." And one of the things it says is never pick up the pencil of a kid and start doing the work. I used to do that, okay? I admit it. So stepping back and not being that sage on the stage is kind of rough at times. So, all right. And the other group, you guys said shared. I like that. Cheater, cheater, pumpkin eater. Susan, why don't you share this time a little bit about what you guys talked about? Uh-oh, Susan, you're still muted. Or something.
Sorry about that. The way it showed up on my screen, I couldn't get to the microphone to unmute. We were talking about how the idea, if the kids are doing the talking, they're doing the learning, and that was really an important part of any task, is that kids have to be able to talk about it.
Sure. And kids are willing to talk. We just got to get them to talk about the right stuff, right?
Right.
Exactly. So what I wanted to do, the reason that we started out with this activity was to just remind us that we really do have a grasp of what this whole idea of rich task is all about and what we're looking for. So the idea that we're getting to today is that it doesn't have to be some magic, book that has every rich task in it. You guys have it in you to make those rich tasks. So we're going to move a little bit farther, and we're going to look at, sure we are, there we go. We're going to look at some, oh, I forgot. I always do this. I'm going to show you one more feature of Zoom if you've never used it before, just in case I have to call on you. There's a spot that you can raise your hand. So if you click on participants, then the names come up, all the list of everybody that's in there. And then there's a button that says raise your hand. And we're going to use that instead of you guys going like this, because there's enough of us today that you probably could do that. but sometimes we have as many as 20 and 30 on here, and it's just not possible. So we need to see the little hand up. So everybody click that right now, just to make sure that we all know where that is. Participants, and then there's a little button that says raise hand. Okay, Ryan, I'm going to ask you because it's not coming up on my screen. Are those hands raising?
Oh yes, they're all up.
Okay. I'm telling you guys, I'm talking about, I was there with Melanie just a second ago. My computer is acting like it's a Monday. So, so Ryan may have to tell me who's raising their hands or not. So we're going in to do an activity in your breakout rooms this time. It's still on Padlet, but instead of just being, you know, you guys typing in answers to things that you're discussing about, this is actually a card sort. So each one of the groups will have a different Padlet. Ryan will put that into chat in just a second. And what you'll do is you'll go into your session and you'll read a card aloud, and then you decide, does it belong with the rich task or does it not belong with the rich task? And be sure to discuss why. That's why we gave you a lot of extra time there, was 7 minutes, because we want you to really talk about why things are rich or are not rich. So Ryan has put the group 1 and group 2 Padlets in there, and he'll be sending you off soon. And all you have to do is slide the cards around. So on the left side of the screen, you can put the tasks that do have rich task involved. On the right side of the screen, you can do the ones that don't. And if there's any that you really have a good discussion about that you think, oh, Mary, we should all talk about this one, put it in the middle, because I'll be able to see it and we can have a real good discussion when we get back. All right? All righty. Any questions? Then Ryan's going to send you off. Care to explain to me why I'm not seeing the hands now? It's crazy. It's like all the extra stuff, like you sharing your screen and then the hands and.
Yeah, I don't know why that's not. Your co-host. I've already made you. Oh, you know what? You logged out and logged back in. That's what it was. At least for those hands. I would.
Oh, okay.
Co-host, and then it stopped it. So I don't know now. Maybe that you can see the hands.
Okay.
But as far as the screen sharing, you were co-host to begin with, so.
Well, just if we're doing something where I ask them for hands raising for the first time, if I don't immediately pick someone, just assume I can't see them and start typing them into me on the chat box.
Yeah, I will.
Like, Caitlin has her hand up or whatever.
Sounds good. They're moving them. Group 2's moving them.
Yeah, group 2 is moving like crazy. They even put 2 headers on there.
Yeah, yeah. Group 2 is the group that several of them teach online.
Oh my gosh.
So they have that, and then of course, and they have, was it Galen? No, what was the other one that was in, but now she's.
Melanie, Galen, Susan, Camille.
Who was the one that when I came in, you guys were saying you were having technical difficulties?
Melanie.
Melanie. Okay, yeah, Melanie uses Zoom too. I think she's one of the online people, so it's a familiar task to them.
So my question then is, are they on here to learn different ways to do their PD?
Might be.
Because Denise said that that yesterday she was up in wherever it is, doing a training in Shelby County, in near Memphis. And one of her teachers said, "Oh, please, can I get on the call?" And so they called, and Sarah added her yesterday. But she told Denise she was getting on there just to see different technologies that she can use. I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah. Free is free.
Yep.
My timer keeps looking. 4 minutes.
Okay, group 2 is totally done. They might be having another discussion.
Think group 2 is done?
Yeah, they are. And group 1 is almost done.
Well, we can call them back early, but
You might pop in and ask them, "We think that you might be done, are you?"
yeah. I worry about the richness of the conversations if they're going to be. Yes.
Well, that's why I changed it this time. If you noticed, I said, if there's any that really bring a lot of conversation, put them in the middle so we can talk about them. But nobody's putting anything in the middle, so I'm still going to have to.
Nothing in the middle.
Nothing in the middle. They're both done. Not that they couldn't still be talking, but they're both done. So this is the slide 16 and slide 18.
Okay. Well, if they're done with a task, we'll pull them back. I'll close the rooms. It's only a minute early, so it's not too bad.
Okay.
They're aligning them. Are they right? I mean, like, are they the exact same?
Yeah, they're exactly the same.
Okay.
All righty, are we all back? It looks like we're still, we are all back. Okay, I'm getting a nod. So Heidi, I have to admit, you had the prettiest, perfect columns of those cards. Ryan and I were both talking. We're like, oh, they must be done. They're lining them up. So anyway, as you were discussing in your groups, you probably talked more about some of them than others. And so what I'd like you to do is just when I ask you just to share out maybe 2 things that you were talking about as far as rich task characteristics of a rich task in your group. So let's see, I picked on Susan last time. How about Galen? Why don't you share this time?
We talked about the fact that when students are just asked to memorize, using any kind of a procedure and it's one way, the teacher says you must do it this way, the students are not thinking, they're not making those connections, they're not going to be able to transfer that learning and apply it to any other new learning later.
Right. I mean, what's going to happen to Aunt Sally, though?
Oh, please excuse her.
It's so true. I mean, people will write these huge, really rich tasks and then give them a mnemonic or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Thank you very much. And what about, well, Melanie, you were listed as the reporter, so I'm going to say oh, they voted you in without you knowing it. Is that what you're saying? Okay, go ahead and.
That's okay. That's okay. We talked about, one of the things we talked about was the importance of a rich task. A lot of times teachers get caught up in a rich task or a rigorous task being harder numbers. I have to make it this way because it's pre-AP, and changing the mindset of teachers of what a rich task really entails. And it's not about harder numbers. It's about harder thinking.
Right, exactly. Think harder, think smarter, not harder. That was the way it was. I was like, wait a minute, I said that backwards. Yes, it's definitely about the way that they're thinking and the way that they're working together and stuff. Way to go. So this is just what you guys just said. So there you go. But if we were going to develop a tool around this many things, it would drive everybody, including us, kind of wonky. So we narrowed it down, and I want you to read these, and then just raise your hand if you have any questions or concerns about how we kind of narrowed them down a little bit, or even just comments. We'll be taking comments too about these. So what do you think about these if we had these as the characteristics? It's quiet. I'm not sure if anybody put their hand up. Anybody put their hand up, Ryan? Okay. We think we fixed it. So can you guys put your hand up again? Let me see if I see them now. I did. Woohoo! All right. Okay. So now I know if you're raising your hand. I had to log out and log back in, so I didn't come in as the right person. I have multiple personalities. All right. So characteristics of a rich task. What does it mean by multiple entry points? Someone raise their hand and explain, because that's always one that seems kind of weird. So Susan, what does multiple entry points have anything to do with tasks?
Well, I think I see it more at the high school level than some people see. The kids have different basic background knowledge about different things. So we've got to allow them to use that background knowledge to connect to the new knowledge. So like, for example, I might be teaching integers. One kid might connect it to a checking account. Another kid might connect it to temperature. Another kid might connect it to a map, but that should all be okay.
Right. And so those connections are huge, and even how they solve them. Have you ever had a high school student true story with my nephew, he was having trouble multiplying, and he came to visit me one time, and so I showed him an array. He'd never seen one before. His teacher hadn't used one. And when he got back home, she texted me and she said, "Oh my gosh, he's doing so much better. How did you do it?" And I explained, we did an array, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, "That's fantastic, but why does he keep asking for dog treats? That's the thing I use." That was the manipulative. I was like, no, he does not want a dog treat. But anyway, so sometimes it's how they approach things, not necessarily, and then sometimes it's the background knowledge and what they have bringing in. This also goes for our ELL learners, our special education folks. They all have different levels and all have to come in. Melanie, share with us.
We were talking about the multiple entry points could also mean that, a rich task for one student in your classroom has one entry point, but a rich task for another student has a different entry point. And if you've allowed for all of those layers and those scaffolds throughout that task, then we move away from the mindset that it's just for your gifted kids or just for your pre-AP kids, because you have developed it well enough with a scaffolded mindset so that all students have a way into that task.
Beautifully said. That was me in English, is kind of like other kids in math. When I'd get write a report or whatever, I'd go, I don't know how to start. And same way with kids in the math class. They look at it and go, I don't even know how to start. So it's great to have those different entry points as you work through it. Great. All righty. So I want you to just take a second and read this quote. So this was from an issue of Educational Psychologist by Walter Doyle. And I think it says a whole lot, because a lot of stuff goes on in the classrooms. I mean, there's, teachers up there going at it, teaching the class, and the students are doing maybe worksheets or group work, or you've got centers going on and all kinds of stuff. But when push comes to shove, when you get right down to it, it's those tasks that are used in the classroom that form the students' learning. They're going to remember what they do. It's kind of exactly the opposite of what we tell our kids. Do as I say, not as I do. I'm telling you, do as I do. So what we'd like you to do now is to look at two totally separate tasks on one page. So Ryan is going to put in the chat box a link to, or he just did, to a Google Drive area for you, a folder. And inside that folder is a lot of information for you. The first two things, they're numbered by the slide number. So this is slide 18. 2 slides ago, we had this one. So it's in there as well, so that you don't have to constantly go, what was that list? So this is in there, slide 16, and this is in there, slide 18. Now, you could print them out if you have a printer close by, or you can just use a piece of paper and jot down. But here's what I would like you to do. Task managers, you guys have to give each other about 3 minutes or so to do the work first, because you really do have to do both sides to really get a good feel. Then come together and talk to each other about what you see as far as a rich task goes in either one of these documents. Maybe you see it on the left side, maybe you see it on the right side. So for purposes of sharing out, when we're looking for evidence, we're going to refer to this side, the left side, as the alpha side, the alpha side, the alphabet's over here. And this side we're going to refer to as the numeric side, because they're numbered. It just so happened that way, and so Ryan gave me that idea. So that's a good way to refer to it. So we have the alphabet side and the number side. So task managers, 3 minutes to do the task, and then you have up to 5 minutes if you need to discuss it. And then you're going to come back and report out some evidence. All right? Any questions? All righty, then Ryan will be putting you into your groups again. And we will see you back here in just a couple minutes. I think Susan is a nun.
Really?
I don't know. Can you hear the noise behind me? Okay. Because they're having some party or something. Uri must be having some people over or something. And there is definitely a party going on across the hall.
Nope. So you're good there.
Okay, good.
It's going well.
What you need on these computers is picture in picture. Then you could have the little picture and you could still be looking towards the, when I put this, I want to see everybody's faces, but then my face is over there too. You know what I'm saying? Nope. And so then I end up looking at the wrong screen.
I have the presenter view on, and I have the big slides to the right. And I look at, and I share that one. but then I look at the presenter's slide part, and our pictures are on that. So Zoom is with that. So as I go to read the notes, our picture's over there. So I know it'll be over here. And I never really look at the slide itself.
You're a smart cookie. Did you have any trouble with your flight yesterday?
No, everything was on time and smooth sailing. Had a little bumps once we got close to Indiana, but pretty good. Nothing too bad. We lost Camille in group 2.
That was the group with 4 people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say if it's the group with 3 and we have 2 and 4 now, that would be bad. But okay.
Yeah.
She said she had to. Did she say she left? I thought she said
That was Susan. So this is actually a different person. She left like 10 minutes ago. Susan says she has to leave, I think, half an hour or maybe halfway through. Can't be halfway through because that's.
I think she said a half an hour early. I have to leave half before this session will be done. That's seriously what she wrote.
Yep. And she changed her name too. I thought about changing it for her, but then I was like, some people may not want that, but at least we know it. We can call her by her name, but she changed it.
I have to leave half before this session will be done.
I think she means half hour, but.
Yeah. I would think that was what she meant. It's kind of funny.
When people write that to the whole group, I generally reply in a private message, but.
Yeah. Are we on time?
They have about 4.5 minutes left.
No, I just mean, are we on time?
Oh, yeah, I think we're fine.
Okay. Did you hear any of the replies from last night, the evaluations?
No, I haven't heard any of that.
Me either. So I was wondering if they were all crappy. Just teasing.
I doubt it. It was interesting. They all, when I went into the groups, they're like, we're not sure what else we're supposed to do. And I was like, have you looked at the Padlet? Padlet? What? Huh? So that's why this last time I was like, and you will click on the Padlet before you go anywhere.
So these are fair game for Brian to sell now if anybody calls and says we want some online. And then magically you and I'll have to figure out, okay. I didn't know how that was going to work.
Well, that's part of what the whole, making the list of things, the chopped activity was supposed to be about, was adding new things that he could sell. I mean, he's participated in one of these, but I don't know that he knows a lot about them, so I can't imagine he's selling them hard.
Mm-mm.
It tends to be that he's saying we can do online, and districts are saying, oh, okay, that sounds like great. That sounds interesting. But I don't think there's any common understanding beforehand, which is why it was difficult. In some cases, they were, well, the talking head thing that I said.
That's the way I used to have to do. I'd think through math. There was usually like 25 people on, and I didn't even let them talk. They chatted, and I would, say, this is what Lisa says from blah, blah, blah.
Oh, you just got to chat.
Yeah. Would have loved to have had a Padlet back then.
Yeah. I think it's okay. It's just not one that's common. There's a little bit of a learning curve to it. I'd like to have tabs within it, you know what I mean? Like create one Padlet, but then create a tab so they can look at other group stuff, but not be working in it.
I just would like a tab because I've got too many Padlets made.
Yeah. Foldering would be nice too.
Mm-hmm.
Minute and a half. I'm of the mind that when you go into the rooms, it's somewhat intrusive. You know, you're like, oh, he's here. Okay. But I'm also at the same point, I'm not 100% sure that they are on task the whole time.
I wouldn't be at 5 o'clock after a work day.
Yeah. All right, I will close the rooms, and they have a minute to go.
Alrighty. I should have downloaded in, again, I showed them there's an app that you can get for your computer that you can put everybody's names on and spin it. So it's random generated names. I should have done that. That would be funny.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. 15 seconds, and then it'll close, and they will have to be back. So it sounds they're not back. So I wonder if the conversation has been rich.
Or nobody wants to be the first one back.
Oh, I doubt that. Here they are. 3, 2, 1.
And they're back. Hello, everybody. It's always weird. All of a sudden, it's like I'm here by myself, and then poof, there's all of you. So let's talk a little bit about this. I'm not going to pick on Diane. Diane, will you share with us some of the things that you guys talked about in your group?
Sure. We got the list of characteristics out and started to debate about if the right side was really considered a rich task or not. We all agreed the left side was not, because it just had rote memorization of place value there. But on the right side, we thought that it was pushing to understand place value and what it really meant. But kind of the weakness was, does this really require students to talk to each other and have that collaboration? And then we quickly went into, well, it depends on how the task is implemented. So
Yep. You're absolutely right. And when you really think of it that way, even the first task, it depends on how it's implemented. You know, if you took one of those questions and really expanded it, you could make it more. But as is, I like the way that you were talking that the left side, I mean, you said rote memorization. I don't even know if it's memorization. It's like, let's put this number here and this number here and this number here and this number here. But what was it about the right side that did tend to make you feel, let me see, who am I going to call on this time that I haven't messed with? Camelia. Did I say that right? Oh, she's not even here anymore. We lost somebody. Oh, no. Donna. Donna, what was it about the one on the right that kind of made you look at it and go, yeah, there's a little bit there. I can kind of see.
Well, just looking at the characteristics, we think that it has different layers of complexity and different entry points. And if you looked at number 3, there were different solutions that they could put where the 10s plus 10s go. So there are several of the characteristics that you have for a rich task that are embedded in that, even if the teacher doesn't do much other than just giving it to the students.
Sure. So a rich test doesn't have to have absolutely all of these characteristics. It'd be nice if they did, but as long as you have some of them, at least you're moving in the right direction. So you mentioned that there's multiple entry points. Because if the kids do just know, well, if I have a 3-digit number, I put 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Well, that's at least an entry point. Even if it's wrong, it's an entry point. We can talk about it. Mistakes are expected, you know. It talks about multiple layers of complexity you were talking about. There was different ways that they were asking them to show it. So not all of them, and you hit on a very good point, is that we could ramp it up. just by what we do in the classroom with the students. And that's the reason that we showed these. It's like, okay, so we have the bottom of the barrel where they're just filling in the numbers, and we've ramped it up just a little bit. And you've already said, having some discussions, asking the right questions can even make it higher. What we're trying to show is that so many times teachers are like, I know I'm supposed to do rich mathematical tasks. I get that, but I don't know where to get the task from. You know, I Google it on the web and I say, rich tasks probability. And sometimes I get something and sometimes I don't. Well, it's not about finding it on the internet or in some book. It's about taking what you've got and really using those rich tasks to ramp it up. And so that's what we're going to be talking about here in just a little while. So I'm going to talk for a little bit just because I like to hear myself. No, that's not the reason why. I'm going to talk for a little bit because it's important that we get a chance to go through this tool together before you guys go into your groups and work on a task on your own. So on the next slide, I'm going to pull it up, and there's going to be a 6th grade task there. And so what I want you to look at when we get to there is it rigorous, you know, or what parts of it are rigorous? What kind of thinking are the students going to have to do? And are there any of those rich task qualities in this document that we're going to look at? So here it is. Ryan enjoys swimming. Okay, this was actually written for our host, Ryan, because he does enjoy swimming. He swims daily. His pace allows him to swim 1,700 meters in 15 minutes. So write the rate that he swims in meters per minute, reduce the fraction to get the unit rate per minute. And if Ryan's coach tells him he needs to swim faster, does he need to increase the meters he swims or the minutes he's swimming? So I'm going to give you just a second individually just to think, is there any part of this that's rigorous? Is there any part of it that you could consider in the rich task area? And what needs to be tweaked? So those are the type questions that you should be asking yourself as you go through that. Our tool is designed to help you make sure that you look at all those characteristics of those rich tasks. So it's got the criteria over here to the left. It's got a spot for specific evidence. That's important. Teachers are going to want to just put yes, no, no, yes, no, just like kids. It happens. But we're looking for specific evidence. Students are workers and decision makers. Is it in there anywhere? Contextual, sure, it's all about swimming. So make sure that you're using specific evidence as you're talking about this. So in my case, I said that decision makers, no. This problem tells them what to do. High level thinking, that third question kind of starts going there, but let's get real, folks. It's a 50-50 shot at it, the way that it's written right now. Layers of complexity, there's really only one answer all the way through this. It is in context. We've got the swimming thing in there. It really emphasizes one way to solve when it says reduce the fraction and to find the unit rate. And then it does, is this 6th grade content? And the answer would be yes. And the one that we're going to ask you guys to do, I actually have the standard written so you guys can compare that. So this tool is not meant to be, you know, that you have to write tons and tons. It's to have conversations. You could bring a piece of a worksheet or something like that to a group of teachers, and every single one of them will see different things. And it's that power of everybody seeing different things that's going to ramp up the task when it's done. So in this case, I say, don't give away too much, you know, use those words justify. Making it more open is going to allow for more solutions and entry points. Write in some justify and bring discussion. That's what you guys were talking about, that other one, is I need to make sure that in my lesson plans, I'm walking around asking questions, asking for some discussion. Context is good. Maybe at the end I could have them compare their answers. That's just like one line. Why don't you now take your paper over to someone else and compare your answers? And then they're talking about it. Wow, you've taken it up a notch. And then bring in more justification and analysis. So this is what I did. And I'm going to give you a second. The one on the left shaded out is our original one, in case you forgot. So raise your hand if you see a change that was made and you kind of figure out why I made that change. Susan, I saw your hand first.
I think the first change was, instead of asking for the rate, you asked him how fast he was swimming, implying the rate, getting more of that conceptual idea in there that is a rate.
Beautiful. And in fact, there's lots of rates you could use. You could use meters per minute. You could use 1,700 meters in 15 minutes. That is a rate. You know, so there's different ways to look at that, how fast Ryan's swimming. I like that. Oh, everybody took their hands down. Does that mean you all saw the same thing? Is there any other change that was made that you guys see? Melanie, go ahead and share another thing that you saw changed and why you think it was changed.
Well, the question B was completely changed out because, like you said, reducing the fraction to a unit rate is basically, they're going to do, that's the same thing in A. It's just what's the form of the rate. And is unit rate something that you're trying to get them to understand at this point? If that's been part of the conversation, many of the students are going to go ahead and reduce the fraction and talk about a unit rate. And it's also one of those questions that you could ask as you're walking around. But taking it to how far could he swim in 2 hours adds another layer of, do students understand the concept of time and minutes, and can they translate the rate that he's swimming to the 2-hour model.
Perfect. Yeah. And if you are in the end of the lesson and you're already talked about the unit rate and proportional stuff like that, they may jump right to that to solve it. And then you may have other kids that start at the very beginning and just draw, pictures. In 15 minutes, he went 1,700, another 15 minutes, another 1,700, and draw some side of a number line or something like that. So again, lots of different entry points, lots of different ways that you could solve it. And of course, the last one, all I did was make it so it wasn't just a flip a coin type problem. I just said, justify your response. So just kicked it up a notch with just that word justify. So what we're going to do now is we have another task that's been developed for you guys. And it looks like this. And don't worry if you're sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, I have to remember all that when we go to our breakout rooms. Nope. We have it actually on a page in that Google Doc for you. It is slide 23. And each one of these are going to have a different, when you go to Google Docs, go to Google Drive, make sure that group 1 gets the one that says slide 23 and then in parentheses number 1, so that you know that you're working on your own tool. Otherwise, all of a sudden, magically, someone else will be writing on there. So you're creating a Mother's Day present in class. It's a calendar. It's a right cylinder right there. It's a candle. It's a right cylinder right there. Use the picture of this candle to the right to answer the questions. Okay, could be on any page that you possibly have ever seen. So when you come back together, you need to be prepared to share the evidence that was initially in the task. We're going to talk about the task first. What was good? What was bad? Your decisions about what you wanted to change. And then a problem that you guys created at the end after making the changes. All right, so each group is going to compare, and let's see which types of problems we get from this one that we start with. All of us will start with. So again, you're going to go to your rooms. go to your room. No, you're going to go to your breakout rooms. You're going to get on Google Drive, get your documents, and then have the discussion around the tool. You know, make some notes as you go through it. Have the discussion around the tool, and then come up with a problem that would be more along the lines of a rich task problem than the way it is written right now. Okay? We're going to give you about 15 minutes for this. It's a little bit longer, but we want those discussions to be had. What's there? What's not there? What could we change? And really kick it up a notch, all right? So are there any questions? All right, Ryan, I think they're ready to go to their rooms.
We do not anticipate that you will run out. That you'll finish early, but if you do finish considerably early, just contact us, let us know, and we'll be able to have additional discussions here if need be. But I think the 15 minutes should be just about the right amount of time. So enjoy your groups.
And they're gone.
They got faster at that part.
Yeah, you take over now, right?
I do.
Okay, I'll stop sharing.
And 15 minutes from now is 6:31, so we're good.
Or 5:31 in my time.
Or 5:31 your time. I wrote in the chat that they can do, they can keep track of their thoughts in the tool, because one of the other groups last session.
Yeah, I wrote them down. That she was so cute. I did take notes.
Yeah.
I know I'm the reporter. I did take notes. It was so funny.
Yeah, the Camellia is the one I was referring to earlier, that she left.
Yeah, I realized that the minute I said it, I was like, because I was looking over here at the list, and then I went back and I was like, oh, crap, that's oh, well. And then somebody else popped in for 2 seconds. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah. It said UNI Cougar was the name on it. And I was like, okay, what kind of cougar? Like, it's your class mascot, or you're looking for a younger man type cougar? I'm not sure. But they popped in just for a second. And then I guess that we were having the discussion and she popped back out. But I thought it was weird that it was right at the 5 o'clock mark, because that might have meant that she was off time zones again.
Yeah. Well, it's a different room number. So, I mean, they can't have said, oh, like somebody from the first session using the second session, coming in by using the same number.
Yeah, no, it wasn't one of ours from yesterday.
So, well, you know, they sign their name. I mean, like when you log in, it asks you for your name. So you can make something up each time.
Oh, I see.
If it was a different person, so. But like I said, the rooms are different, so.
Well, when you get the room number, though, I suppose there is a possibility that if you inverted a number or something like that, you could end up in it. I mean, I'm sure they try to randomize them far enough apart that.
Yeah. Just like phone numbers, you get wrong numbers sometimes.
Right. At least the person coming in wasn't going into naked something or other. You know, it's like, hey, everybody. That would be bad.
That would be bad. I would probably not have made that assumption. All right, so there are people in the slides, 2 in the first one, and I guess I'm one of them, so there's only one person in the other one.
I wonder if she's sharing her screen and they're talking.
Now I see someone's face. Oh, that's you.
Yeah.
You're logged in. Well, I guess I don't know why I don't have one. Maybe because yeah, group 2.
Group 2 has everybody in there. You,
and
me, and 3 of them.
Work. I think the group 1 is starting.
Yeah.
We could make this a form in the future, but if we wanted them to not to change so much, but
It's been fun working with you.
Well, I hope we get to keep doing it. Yeah.
Just nothing new. Let's just keep doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to help out on the Dodia stuff. You know that.
My Dodia stuff today was not about development. It was about getting the right fellow in the right spot. Oh my God, it was like doing a puzzle. I tried to get everybody into like their top 3 was my goal, and of course it never works. But
for
the
elementary,
ones in like Pacific, it got down to like 6, some of them, but it still was, not way down on like number 11 or 12.
You're not going to need me, or are you going to need me to go, or whatever?
Yeah, I put you in Turkey.
Okay.
Does your wife know you're going to Turkey?
No, but
is your will up to date? No, I'm teasing.
Yes, she actually made sure we did that before we went to Japan.
Yeah, when you travel together, you always have to think about that.
So that's completely up to date. But she actually might want, well, I don't know, because when we were in Germany, Patty McNaughton is at ISS for the Germany area, and she used to work in Turkey, and she spoke extremely well of it. She said, it's really great.
The teachers love it. The teachers absolutely adore it. And Carolyn went the first year, but she went to in Kurlik or whatever, the one that's closed.
Yeah, and so this one is in Ankara, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, so she spoke so highly of it that I don't think my wife would be that nervous about it. Plus, like, I mean, I think I work with 8 or 10, somewhere between there, students from Turkey that have all said, please come back, please come. We want to show you around. And so.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I don't know how far they live from it because it's a big country, but.
Yeah, that's what I have a friend that, an ex-student that is currently stationed at that other one in Kurlik or whatever it is. Yep. And I told him, I said, maybe I'll come to Ankara one time and we can see each other. And he goes, yeah, no, that's way too far away. He goes, I was like, oh, okay. But I mean, it doesn't matter in the long run. I mean, look at what happened today in England. I mean,
yeah.
And that's just a tourist town. I mean, people go there all the time. So yeah, you don't think of Turkey as being a great tourist environment, but you never know where something's going to happen.
Yeah, that's very true. When is that? That's in August, right? Elementary is in August?
Yes.
Did you need me to go to Turkey? I hate it if I took somebody's place that wanted to go to Turkey.
No, I had to get 15 new fellows this year.
Okay. Nobody put that like in their top 1 or whatever that I would be taking.
No, most of them on the list, it says, is there any place that you will not go? And they either say I will not decline any site, or they put down Bahrain and Turkey.
I understand Bahrain.
Well, everybody that's gone to Bahrain, though, has absolutely loved it. That's why Katie's going this year.
Yeah.
I didn't think when I first heard that we went to Bahrain, I didn't think we'd want to send women. And I know that sounds bad, but I just thought that they would have to keep covered up and that it wouldn't be a good environment for us to send. And Katie goes, no. She said Bahrain is over the water. And if in their religion, if you go over water, God can't follow you. So in Bahrain, women don't wear their long, what are those called? I can't remember right now.
It's burqa, right?
Yeah, the burqas. They don't wear the whole burqas. It's just totally different.
A lot of children laughing. I'm in campus. My kids are still at home for spring break, and so conducting this at home is just not an option.
Oh, how funny.
And so I came to campus, and then it's been like, I'm kind of like, my office mate's been really quiet. I have 2 office mates. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I came to do this here. I didn't know if you guys would be. I thought it would be late enough in the evening, but he was staying. He was like, you want me to leave? I was like, I don't want to kick you out, man. Can we just be quiet?
Yeah. My thing is, if Denise is here, I'm sitting here and it's like directly behind me. So you see her walk in and walk out and sit down and stand up. And
all right, 6 minutes left.
Well, group 1 is still typing a lot in
2 is
They're
definitely
just to
typing
the
a lot.
third one. Group 2 looks like they're rocking it.
Maybe saying something about the fact that the tool doesn't have to be electronic, because, you know, it's like coming off the screen and they may be like, well, this is cumbersome kind of thing.
Yeah.
We just did it electronic just so that they could do it in a common space.
Right. And they'll get the other version of it.
Oh, they just
do
did it.
that.
They shrunk the font, or it shrunk the
That's,
font.
I thought I set all the fonts to be like 8. I thought I did that, but apparently I didn't. Because see, you can see it starts in a small font in the very first corner.
Yeah.
But then, so.
Did I send out 6 minutes left? Did you see that?
I didn't see it because I was looking at the other thing.
Okay.
Now you did.
I typed it in, but I was waiting for the few, and then we got to talking, and I don't know that I sent it out, so I sent it back out. I'm hoping my family will come with me to Lost Pines
They should.
for elementary training, so that they can enjoy the place.
Yes. And we, for both elementary and secondary this year, we put in the day where we meet in the morning, and then at lunchtime, you take a sack lunch and you go, and then you have till like 5 o'clock or something on your own, so that you can enjoy the place too, because that was the one feedback we got from a lot of people in secondary last year was like, you bring us out to this gorgeous place and we're busy 24 hours a day. What are you trying to do? You know, and we're like, okay. So we tried it with elementary last year and it worked really well.
Mike and Linda crack me up. They hate the place.
Oh, I know, because they hate outdoors.
Was that?
They hate outdoors.
I guess that's the case, yeah, but it's like, what?
I mean, Linda liked it because she went to the spa. And I mean, that was the part she liked. And I kept telling Mike, I was like, you should bring your family with you and let them, you know, swim and da-da-da. And he's like, he goes, we don't do outdoors. I mean, seriously, when I took him looking for houses, he was okay with those houses that are built and then the fence is like right there. He goes, we just stay inside. I'm like, oh my God, that's so sad. Did you use sharing your screen yet? Because you're not.
I know. Well, I still have 3 minutes.
Okay, no. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Since I blew it last time, I thought I would mention it.
That's just annoying. Somehow the Zoom PowerPoint thing doesn't really like each other. Because when you like exit and stop screen share, it flips back and forth from like large view to small view and kind of freaks out.
But when I stopped sharing, you became my entire second screen, your face.
Right. Don't forget it.
Ah!
Share screen PowerPoint. Wow.
There it goes. Oh my God, how can I have 8 emails? I just turned it off when we started. That's just wrong.
All right, so after this, you're going to be
Watching the chat.
URL, and that's it.
Yep. We only have one more URL, right? The
Just the survey.
link, the survey, yeah. I'll type that one in, then I don't have to worry.
Okay. Whose children are out there? Huh? It's very annoying. Let's hope those doors stay open, because every time someone comes in and out. Thank you. Thank you.
Let me know before I'll mute myself so I'm not tap, 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 tap.
Okay, well, they've got a minute and a half.
Okay.
I'll close their things at 30 seconds, and then they'll come back.
Okey-doke. I will mute myself then. There it is.
Ten seconds. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you very much. It looks like y'all had some great conversations and some really wonderful ideas about this task and increasing richness with it. I'd love to hear from the groups. We have only 2, but we can have multiple shares from the groups. But let's start off with group 2. And let's hear from your representative here.
Okay, does that mean? I guess that's me. Some of the adjustments, are we just talking about the adjustments first, or?
Yeah. What did you see as richness, and what kind of adjustments and what modifications did you make? Yeah.
Yeah, this is one I think that all teachers that are teaching geometry tend to struggle with, on how open-ended can I really make it? Because I'm thinking from a teaching perspective, if I open the door, then I've got to think about knowing the answer for all of the possible solutions.
Yeah.
But again, if we just think about focus on the process, and are they understanding the process that they're doing, then the answers can be checked in small groups. We said that you could give them choice and decide what shape the candle needs to be, not necessarily tell them what shape, or also ask them, okay, you have to create a candle of all 3 shapes and they have to be the same height. Make some decisions and find the volumes, or you have a certain amount of wax that you can use and it can't go over a certain volume. I mean, there are many ways that it could be ramped up.
Okay, great. And I like your first comment of they would have to know the other possible answer, and then it went to other possible answers when you make them open-ended. And then, like you said, in the end, either an answer can be checked if that's the goal, or we can really just check it for reasonableness, and the conversation about the work is what we're really after, right? I mean, discussion, how they got there, and if an answer is off by a little bit, thankfully we're not building bridges with candles here. They can be off by a little bit if they need to be, but it really is okay if the answer is a little bit different, so long as they understand what they're doing. That's the value. Thank you. Yeah, very, very great. Breakout group number 1, let's hear from your group. What kind of evidence did you initially point out, and what kind of modifications did you make?
We really kind of took the same route that the other group did, in that the first one was very cut and dried. Find the area, find, what's the height, and now automatically that leads to the volume there. So vary that by either removing some of the information, changing up that what they're asked to do. So here is a certain volume of wax. make it in a different shape? What are your dimensions? And I think we have to give ourselves the permission to realize that we don't have to have all the answers every single time like that. That's not what it's about. It's about that process, and those answers can be checked later. Trade problems with another group after you're already done, and let the other group solve the answers if you need that practice in the computational part of it. But basically went the same way. Open it up to where there are multiple answers.
Okay.
Multiple ways to approach it.
Multiple ways of approaching, multiple answers. Great. Those are certainly some qualities of richness that we've talked about earlier. Did either one of your groups have a really rich discussion about any particular piece of the tool, something that was unclear or an area that you stayed focused on? Because
I think our group focused a lot on that first part about getting the kids to make decisions.
okay.
A lot of our discussion went into that one.
Great. Was there a particular reason why? Did you feel like the initial problem didn't offer that, or?
The initial problem did not offer any discussion between the kids, and there was nothing for the kids to decide on. It's do.
All right. All right. What about the second group? Did y'all focus on a particular area?
I think our discussion about choice actually led into a lot of the other things. So the minute you're giving some choice, it opened up to that higher level thinking. And so and then that idea of having a team to help decide those choices, and then that would automatically get into that collaboration piece.
Okay, great. Well, students are always begging for choice, especially a middle school and 8th grade student being able to choose. They do love that when you give it that. I think giving them choice too often helps them to, when am I ever going to use this? Well, if they're thinking about the choices, then that kind of question is mitigated a little bit. But well, great. Thank you very much. I think y'all had some really great discussions around this, and opening up to student choice is one of the best ways to start increasing richness. Reflecting on what we've done here today, I'd like for you to take a moment and just think about kind of a 3-2-1 task here. We've got, think about 3 ways in which this task will impact the learning, and 2 ways it'll impact your teaching, and then 1 action step that you might take. And you can write that down where you are on a pencil and paper, or you can type any one of those into our chat here. And I'll give you just a couple of minutes to think about and reflect on all of those or any one of those. And then I'll have you raise your hand and share out some of that work too. Mary, when you have a 3-2-1 task, do you ever start with the 1, or do you work your way down? Are you a list follower?
I always start with number 1. Right here, babe. Right here.
Well, sometimes it is easy to think about what actions you'll take and then to think about how those fall into the other places too. So I see we've got Heidi offering our first, oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry, Heidi, you sent that to me privately. So Is it all right if I share that out? Okay, great. Well, Heidi's offered that offering the students the opportunity to become actively engaged with their learning rather than just as a lecturer. Well, wonderful. And it'll allow her to step back and see what the students' true understanding of the concepts are. Wonderful. Yeah, yeah. Taking a little bit more of a look and watch kind of role rather than a lead will help you to gain a different perspective. So that's wonderful. Thank you, Heidi. Oh yeah, and be able to listen to the conversations. Absolutely. If you're not talking, then we can listen to more of the conversations than listening to ourselves. Even though Mary says she likes to talk a lot. All right, we've had a few moments to think about this. Who would like to share one of their 3, 2, or 1 steps that we've asked about here? You can raise your hand. All right, okay, Lynn?
I think that one of the ways that it will impact student learning is that as students work with more of these open-ended tasks and tasks where there are multiple answers in the room, it encourages them to be willing to try new things and not be afraid of failing because they don't know the exact right answer, or they don't know the one way to approach the problem. It just encourages them to be more adventurous with math.
Oh, okay. All right. I like that. So often we hear even math teachers talk about the one answer, but getting a student to see problems without one answer is a great thing. And I think personally, we need people to grow up and see the world as not a one answer kind of problem. Otherwise, we end up with the same kind of, phone or technology piece and repeat it over and over again. So great. Thank you. Diana, I saw your hand up as well.
I was responding to the second one of how this will impact our teaching.
Okay.
And I was thinking of the questions that we plan for ahead of time and the questions that we are ready to ask like in the moment in responding. So kind of a dual piece to the questions. And then also just the selection of tasks, like being really purposeful about how we're sequencing these rich tasks so that students are really ready and prepared to engage in them and get the most understanding from them.
Okay. Can you tell me a little more? What do you mean about sequencing them?
So not just having like an isolated task that doesn't necessarily connect from one to the other, because we can come up with these amazing problems, but is it telling the story of the mathematics that students are learning across a unit? So being really purposeful, like we can have a task that takes multiple days, but are we making sure that we're getting to the content that we need to, or like are kids just kind of compartmentalizing, or are they seeing across 6 weeks of a unit that things are related?
I got you. Yeah. Okay. Great. I love the tell the story want us to tell. That's great. That is a lot more engaging than a lecture about what we want to say. Wonderful. Thank you. Melanie typed here, she's meeting with teachers and district PD and the discussion around increasing rigor and relevance is dominant in our district. So the tools will be very useful when working with their, okay. So she's talking about using the tool. Wonderful. I'm glad to hear that would be something that she would like to use as well. Is there anyone else that'd like to share one of these 3 reflections that they've looked at before we head out here? Oh, okay. Susan actually, before she had to go, offered that she would develop one of the tasks for her class and use it after spring break. So wonderful. They're still on spring break. Maybe they got a little more spring than the rest of us in their break. It's less spring like where I'm at, so. Well, thank you all very much for reflecting and looking back at the work we've done today. Again, these were some of the goals and expectations that we had for the work that we were going to do. And I think through the discussions and really a lot of the thinking that you had in your small groups, we really got to doing this kind of work. And I wanted to then thank you and offer an opportunity to give us some feedback about what you did today, what you saw, what you liked. And once you've completed that survey, then you'll be able to actually get some of the participant slides and materials that we worked through today. Some of you had mentioned taking it back to a team or taking it back to a school. At the Dana Center, like I said at the beginning, we do actually work with systems and with districts to go beyond just this bit of work and really talk about implementing rich tasks, working through rich tasks in the classroom, sequencing like Diane said. So certainly can offer more support as y'all go to want to integrate more rich tasks within your classroom. And take a moment. Mary has put the URL in our chat. But again, if you have any questions or any desire to contact us, here's our email addresses, the email address for the center as well. And we do appreciate your work and all of your time today. So thank you very much.
You can follow me on Twitter too.
You may follow Mary on Twitter as well, yes.
And if you guys are going to NCSM, we'll be down there too. So maybe we can actually meet in person.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Heidi. And we'll see you there, Melanie.
Oh, good. Galen, you're the last one. Do you remember me from Think Through Math? Oh, okay. You're muted. You're muted. Turn it on. There you go.
Yes, I do remember you. Absolutely. Yes.
It was funny when I saw you on there. I was like, oh, there's only one Galen. That's got to be her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, nobody else shares that name. It's great to see you again. This was really good. Thanks to both of you.
Sure. Thanks a lot. Have a good
Bye.
one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.